I'm the International Concept Manager for Kinnarps. Kinnarps, just shortly to explain who Kinnarps is, and you will see also that we have a cooperation with ISS in this specific field of IoT and talking products and indoor positioning and stuff like that. Kinnarps is the leading furniture manufacturer of office furniture in Europe. You might have heard about them. We are Swedish, and for sure there are also others which are bigger in the whole world, like everyone knows, but in Europe we are number one. And we have a concept running in Kinnarps that is all about workplace analysis, learning from how people would like to work, learning how work is also changing all over the year. And I would like to show you a little bit about that today. So we have 4 topics here. First of all, I would like to introduce you into Knecht Office, which is the workplace analysis that we're doing. Then we talk about consider the work environments holistically, and then we talk about the service loop, and this is based on technology, on IoT, on sensor technology and other also augmented reality and virtual reality. So maybe we have a connection point with the guys from US after that, so we can check it on the round table. And then I will also show you 2 examples of how this technology can impact our work life on a daily basis. So first of all, what is Knecht Office? I mean, Knecht Office is something to explain just shortly, is a workplace analysis process where we are really going deep into the needs of the people in the working environment. And why are we doing this? Because for many, many years, the workplace has not really developed, although the needs of the workplace has developed tremendously. So people want to work differently. We have the technology. We have younger people who want to work more on a collaboration level than just on a, let's say, kind of a robotic level that my father has learned, okay, I have to do this job and this is the only thing I do all the day. So, but when we look into the workplaces, they are still a little bit like 90-50, even though that some adaptations have been done. But we need to really look into how the workplace is really changing according to some things that happen around the world. And when I say about things that are happening around the world, everyone knows the corona situation, which is that one here. This is, by the way, Ebola, just if you don't know it. This is the normal influenza. And then we have all these other things around that. So the world is changing tremendously, and also the world is changing in a way that we don't expect it. So we can't really plan anymore in a decent way, and it's changing rapidly. And what does it mean for the office? When you look into before Corona, we had this kind of setup for the offices. So we had the traditional workspaces all around in the workplace. We had a little bit of co-work and third places existing, and also we had a decent portion of home office. But then suddenly Corona came, and you see the dramatic change of the work settings that we have during the Corona lockdown. So suddenly everyone was sent home and asked to work from home. And maybe some of you also did that, for sure. And some of you maybe liked it because you had maybe a big house with a special room where you can have your office, where you can work focused without what you're doing. But others had maybe a small flat and 3 children at home that also didn't went to school or to kindergarten. So try to make home office in that situation. So home office was a very, very tremendous impact. Now, during the epidemic risk situation that we have today, we have a little bit of an adaptation. So we have some offices actually available for people, so people go back to work, but not everywhere, because there are some restrictions in the buildings, for example, that doesn't allow us to enter, for example, high buildings. If you have 5,000 people in one building, but only 8 elevators, and you're only allowed to enter the elevator as a single person, you can't really fill the building. It's impossible. So we have some people going back to the office, but not everyone. But then we have to look into the diverse situation that comes now after COVID. And after COVID for sure means maybe also before COVID. So what companies are doing actually now is going into more diversity, so to be more flexible on reaction of new situations. So we see that we have, when it comes back to the office, we have project spaces and the traditional office more in a kind of a 50-50 situation. And that's really different to that what we had before. So this diversity will be for sure a kind of a new normal, but to find out what is the portion or the ingredients for you as a company about what is the new normal, you need some support. You need to measure. And what we can do is you can measure every half a year or every year you can do workshops with people and you can make change management and stuff like that. But how would it be if we have some kind of automatic response from the working environment that helps you to understand how people work, how people behave, and what kind of needs people have? And then we go into the smart office system and the IoT. This one is missing. I had it on my presentation. Okay, so the diversity is getting more and more, and we need to have more learning fields about how to understand about the new office. And then we have to consider work environments holistically. That means if we look into the work environment, it's not only the space, but it's also the people and it's the technology, and it has to come together. And that is really missing in a lot of structures that we see today, that if we are talking about new office situations or new working environments, people are mostly looking into the space, but not into the people, how they react on things, and also not into the digital infrastructure. I see that the fonts have been, sorry for that, have been changed a little bit in this presentation, so that's a little bit weird for me to see, but I hope you can cope with that. And when we look into details of how to understand how organizations would like to work, we need to transform this into the working environment and also into the support of the people. So let's have a deeper look into the service loop that is based on technology and IoT in the office. Based on these three cornerstones, technology, the people, and the space, we have created a circle that helps the companies to reinvent the work environment and also to understand the people on a daily basis. Instead of doing analysis every 1 or 2 years and doing surveys every 1 and 2 years, you can learn on a daily basis how the people are really acting and reacting on the situation that currently is existing. And everything is on data, place, and service, so that means we need to understand the data, we need to transform it into planning and design, and then we also need to help the people to use and operate it in the best way. And how does that work? First of all, the understanding process is all about communication, onboarding, and change process. So first of all, you have to onboard the people. What kind of new vision and information do we have in the company? So what is the way we would like to work, or what is the current situation? For example, sorry people, we have COVID-19 at the moment, so you can't come to the office anymore. We need to put you in your home office. This is kind of information that people need to react on. But then you have to onboard the people on that, to understand and to cope with the situation. So that means you need support in the change process. After that, you can analyze and mapping the situation of satisfaction, and you are mapping the people's needs according to home office, for example. So what is the situation of a home office of a person who lives in a small flat with 3 children, and what is the situation of someone who is married with a nice wife but has a 200 square meter house somewhere in the suburbs? So you have to understand how the people are reacting on the different situations. And here we can already use a sensor technology, for example, for occupancy study. We need to learn how many people are really using the current situation in the office. And also according to the building structure, infrastructure, is it really able, the people are really able to enter the building, for example. From there we go into a strategy. So we look into the organization and the culture of the company, because some companies are very adaptive to these new technologies, others are a little bit more resistant to that. And what does it mean also according to implement the IT infrastructure into a smart office? After the understanding, we can go into the planning. So now we have all the data of what people need, what kind of investments are possible to take, what kind of situation do we really have in the company? Do the leaders or the managers all support the new strategy that the company has? So we now go into the real infrastructure. So we do flexible working environment concepts. We do zoning and modules. We do interior design solutions like acoustics. We also do IT equipments adapted to the furniture and interior design solution. And we also set up organizational rules and set up new behaviors because if you come into a new working situation and you don't change your behavior, then you create a big conflict with the team and with yourself on the long term. So, coming to the next point, the digital excellence has to be built up. Service design, IoT infrastructure, and also the facility management ecosystem. And here I see a big connection to my friend who has presented first, and because here we have a learning curve that augmented reality can really support. And if it's available through the environment, then it's very easy to implement so that you can really get a big impact into that what you're doing. Next slide. Sorry that it is a little bit disrupted. From the workplace experience, we also go into the people's behavior and that what people really feel about. It's the mobility, the comfort that people have, also the safetiness. People have to feel safe in the working environment, otherwise they will not perform. And also to create a kind of adventure. So offices also need to be a kind of inspiring environment that leads people into more engagement. And for sure also all the health aspects have to be considered. So everything around ergonomics, acoustics and so on, and safetiness have to be considered here. Let's look into the next point, sorry. Then we come to the benefit point. Offering the integrated services. Yeah, this it's a very good point here. So the integrated services is something that spins around all these points that we have talked before. So now we come into the IoT part that we are installation sensors. We make space management and occupancy studies, and also meeting room management. So you can book working environments from home, for example, through your smartphone, or you can do it directly in the office so that you can organize yourself around the technology that is available. That means also that from there, you learn by mapping and by heat mapping the different behaviors. You can, for example, see on the screen, for example, this area of the office is highly in use and it's very, very accepted by people, and other areas are not so accepted by people. And then you can go into deeper measurements about why is it so, to learn from the actual behavior of the people. And then you can adapt the planning and the structure of the office according to the learnings that you have on a daily basis. So you can schedule the concepts more frequently than you're normally able to do. And you can react faster on the changings that are happening around the working environment. Then the operating ecosystem provides you with the flexible work environments and furniture solutions. And I give you some examples later on where you can see on two different levels what that means. And again, it's a little bit like an onion. We saw this circle before. Everything is based on data and the place and the service that we can create around this. So with increasing experience from your space by learning through the sensor technology and the IoT which is available, you have an easy cooperation, high employee satisfaction, and a flexible working environment, and at the same time, the costs are going down. So you can, for example, shrink down the space that you need for your office for the same amount of people, but you can also reduce the cost per square meters according to the different working setups. And that means, when you look into two examples, just to give you a better picture of what I'm talking about all the time. Looking, for example, when it comes to COVID-19, we talk a lot about washing the hands and disinfection. And we see these things here in all these washing rooms all around in hotels, in the offices. But these are here installed with sensor technology. So these two devices here are clever devices or smart devices. And the devices are talking to the system. That means if they are empty, or before they really go empty, they give an alarm, please refill the disinfection dispenser. And due to the fact that we have the control by the sensor technology, we have a better service flow. That means we never have the situation that a soap dispenser or a disinfection dispenser is empty and you can't use it as a user. So the user experience here is always positive. By monitoring the whole thing, we can also connect directly the order unit. For example, if the soap is running out in the storage, the system gives you automatically the alarm that you have to reorder some soap by the company that you have. And from that point, it becomes a more dynamic system that you are able to understand and to provide a better service for the user. The good thing here is because you have different stakeholders, like facility management in that case, for example, but also the unit that provides the cleaning system, the savings that you have here will be shared through all the different stakeholders so that you don't create a conflict in the organizational structure. Another example, which goes a little bit more into the furniture section, is that we have furnitures installed with sensors. And here you can help the user with the sensor technology to do the right thing with the furniture. We often see, because we have here an example with a sit-stand table and a very, let's say, good adjustable chair, that very often these items are not used in the way as they should use. Very often we come to offices where we see the user manual still hanging from the chair. Even the chair is already 3 years in the office, so nobody has really read the instructions how to use the chair properly. You're laughing because you have the same experience. Yeah. So, and by putting all this information digitally into the chair means that it is much more accepted by the user to read these manuals, for example, or also to give you automatic instructions on the screen in front of you. That means, for example, we can install a sensor in the seat which measures the pressure on the seat or the movement of the seat. Not to say that someone is too fat or something like that, but maybe to say, listen, Peter, you have sat now 3 hours on this chair. Maybe it's time to stand up and do something else. So the product is now able to give you a clever instruction about how to behave correctly in a good ergonomic environment. The same with the tables. Sit-stand tables are available around about 50% in the offices in Germany. It's more or less 100% in Scandinavia. But even there we see that only 25% of the people are really using the function of a sit-stand table. Does everyone knows what a sit-stand table is? So it's an electromotoric, high adjustable table, so you can sit down, but you can also lift it up and you can work in a standing position, which is much better for your mental health and your physical health. But very often this function is not in use. The reason is because people are not triggered to use it. If you don't have the trigger into your character, you don't do it. Very often when you have a new employee, for example, they also don't know that this table is high adjustable, because this is kind of technology that is not really on your daily base, I would say. So if you don't get an instruction on that, you will never use it. Here, the item can automatically instruct you and help you to make the best of the use of this item. So you can adjust, for example, also biometric data if you like to. It's not allowed in all the countries, but for those countries where it is allowed, we have a pilot project actually that you are voluntary, can give your height, your weight, your age to the system. And then the product recognizes not only that there's a person, but it recognizes me as a person. So it says to me, hey, Peter, you can use this chair in the best way by putting this lever here, for example, for 100 kilos, because I'm 100 kilo. And I can feel this a little bit as an offensive if I don't want to have it, but in countries where it is available and possible, we can do this. And in the same time, also, we can adapt failure reports. That means if an engine is broken, Or if an item in the chair is broken and we have the right sensor in the item, we can also give a failure report directly to the system so that the facility management can reorder the parts and we can repair, or the service partner can repair the item directly. So that means we have a lot of positive impacts through this IoT device. That means we can trigger the people to use the items in a much better way than today, because if it's on the screen in front of you and it pops up, then you recognize it. If it hangs under the seat as an instruction, nobody will read it. So this is shortly that what we're doing. Thank you very much, and I hope we will have a lot of questions around on the round table. And Peter Laboom and I, we are here 2 days, and we're open for business. Thank you.